It's time for Media Meltdowns, and stand by to watch CNN lose it over this one because Donald Trump has addressed rumours about running for a third term.
Well, we have great people. I don't have to get into that, but we have one of them standing right here. We have JD, obviously. The vice president is great. I think Marco's great. I think, I'm not sure if anybody would run against us. I think if they ever formed a group, it would be unstoppable. I really do. I believe that. I would love to do it. I have my best numbers ever. It's very terrible. I have my best numbers. If you read it, am I not ruling it out? I mean, you'll have to tell me. All I can tell you is that we have a great group of people, which they don't. They have Jasmine Crockett, a low IQ person. They have AOC's low IQ. You give her an IQ test, have her pass like the exams that I decided to take when I was at Walter Reed. Those are very hard, they're really aptitude tests, I guess, in a certain way, but they're cognitive tests. Let AOC go against Trump. Let Jasmine go against Trump. I don't think Jasmine, the first couple of questions are easy. A tiger, an elephant, a giraffe, you know. When you get up to about 5 or 6, and then when you get up to 10 and 20 and 25, they couldn't come close to answering any of those questions.
He's brilliant, isn't he? And though we all know a person can only be elected president twice in the United States, and the leftist media just still haven't figured it out when Donald Trump might be trolling them. And so, just like clockwork, CNN brings on a political expert to tell their audience what Donald Trump is saying there is a big threat.
The president should not, the Constitution is really clear. You are elected, you can serve a certain amount of time and then no longer. And I think that there are, as Bannon threatened, I would say, we do have to take this quite seriously. We should view it as a threat. There are patterns that are established and we should look at them. I think that when he threatens that there are workarounds, there's all sorts of nightmare scenarios that we can imagine. But what we do have to decide here as Americans, no matter what party we belong to, is what kind of country do we have?
They look so upset. I mean, look how serious and sad they look about this. It's hilarious. But it reminds me of some of the very sane things that we heard from celebrities in the lead up to the election.
If we don't show up tomorrow, it is entirely possible that we will not have the opportunity to ever cast a ballot again.
Oh, Oprah. Now we're going to be joined by Caitlin Sinclair, media strategist for Maha Pac in just a moment. So let's look at how the wonderful women of The View have treated Maha leader RFK Jr.'s wife, Cheryl Hines. Here's Whoopi Goldberg and Sunny Hostin.
I do want to say, he's not a doctor and he's not a professional.
Yes.
And oftentimes when he's talking...
90% of secretaries of HHS have not been doctors.
But they've had a science background.
There have been 3.
Yeah.
No, to be honest, one of Obama's secretaries of HHS was an economist.
But
so,
the majority of them that haven't had medical backgrounds have had a science background.
Wait, don't do anything else. Don't say anything else yet. Because we have to take a break.
I think that's my favourite part. Whoopi clearly getting wrapped up. You can just imagine the producers behind the scenes watching this go to air, being like, stop speaking right now. But of course, while Cheryl Hines was on the program, Joe Behar was grilling her over RFK Jr.'s push for more vaccine research and testing to be done. And Cheryl Hines claps back at the endless criticism from these miserable women.
they are important, and they are an important part of our healthcare. Can we do better? Can we make them safer? Can we make them, can we listen to parents who say, my child got the vaccine and changed, and stopped hitting markers, stopped developing the way they were developing? Can we listen to people when they say that instead of saying, you're crazy?
I agree with that, but you want to listen. But you want to listen to scientists.
Joining us now is Caitlin Sinclair, media strategist for Maha Pac. Caitlin, it's great to see you again. I mean, listening to these women on The View, it's such a joke. I want to get your thoughts as someone who's very much involved in Maha, the Make America Healthy Again movement. And these women on The View, they have to attack RFK Jr.'s wife, and then they even defend Fauci at one point. Can I get your reaction?
I mean, kudos to Cheryl Hines, Gabriella, for walking straight into the lion's den. And she held her own with grace and facts. She came with receipts. And yet the only thing they could go to, Gabriella, was, oh, let's wrap. We have to go to commercial. It is astonishing how quickly some people attack Secretary Kennedy's qualifications while ignoring our own history, right? And Cheryl Hines came there with receipts. So ignoring the fact that very well documented in history, multiple HHS secretaries did not have any medical degrees. They didn't have any doctorates. And they try to act like it's such a scandal what's going on with Secretary Kennedy. Meanwhile, I think it's a plus. The idea that a leader must be a doctor to understand what's happening to our medical institutions, to understand the corruptness, especially given what us Americans have witnessed and how much brainwashing exists within the medical establishment today. As an independent thinker that's outside of the system, I think that's actually an asset, not a liability. And so kudos to Cheryl Hines for sticking up for her man and her own husband in front of these bitter, bitter women on national TV. I think it was completely badass.
They are so bitter, aren't they? I mean, you look at what RFK Jr. has been able to achieve in such a short period of time so far, plenty of people supporting him, and absolutely kudos to Cheryl Hines. Now, you're in New York City and thousands of people gathered in Queens on Sunday to rally around the likely next mayor of New York City, socialist Zohran Mamdani, and Bernie Sanders was there along with AOC, who spent around 15 minutes shouting at the top of her lungs, including trying to convince herself and everyone else in the crowd that they weren't crazy. Watch this.
But we must remember, in a time such as this, we are not the crazy ones, New York City. We are not the outlandish ones, New York City. They want us to think we are crazy. We are sane.
It's typically not a great sign when you have to deny being crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we can maybe think of some like ex-boyfriend stories where they're trying to convince you they're the normal ones. Yeah, they're saying is definitely one way to describe cheering for policies that are going to make the city less safe, more expensive, and unable for anyone to have any enjoyment in the very place you call home. So personally, I would go with batshit crazy, Gabriella, but that's just me. These are the same folks, on a serious note, that are supporting city-run grocery stores, which would, of course, make everything more expensive. Free buses, free transportation, no cops, just fingers crossed, and social workers when there's domestic violence, for example. That's the same people that support these policies. $30 minimum wage, significant property tax hikes, all of these policies that are so troubling and that would make New York City completely unrecognizable. If that is sane, then I think I am going to be called crazy, and I'm very happy with that. Such a troubling rally, and if you're trying to convince someone and scream at the top of your lungs that you're sane, probably should look in the mirror.
Probably should do that. Well, look, another not so great strategy has come from Illinois billionaire Governor J.B. Pritzker, who's been caught lying about the Chicago murder rate. He appeared on Special Report alongside Brett Baer, and he was grilled over why the city had the highest murder rate out of all the major US cities. Watch this.
Why does Chicago have the highest murder rate of all the big cities?
Well, we are not in the top 30 in terms of our murder rate. Indeed,
well,
our murder rate it has been cut in half over the last 4 years, and every year it's gone down by double digits. And if you look at all of the violent crime over the last 4 years,
here's a map.
They've all gone down.
U.S. cities, 17.47 per 100,000 population. Chicago is number one over Philadelphia, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Phoenix, Los Angeles, New York, and San Diego.
What I'm explaining to you is when you want to fight crime. Look, you can pull statistics up.
No,
I can
these are
too.
murders.
I'm explaining to you that our murder rate has been cut in half. And very importantly, Brett, and you got to hear this, very importantly, we've been doing the things that are necessary to bring crime down, right? We've invested in community violence interruption. We've invested in police.
I mean, Caitlin, it would be funny if it wasn't so sad. Does he even care about the homicide rate?
Absolutely not. This is someone that supported policies that obstructed any effort by law enforcement to actually fight crime. There is no incentive right now for anyone to join these forces, to save lives, to actually make women feel safe on the streets. This is the same man that called agents thugs, called ICE agents Gestapo. That's what Pritzker was on the streets doing. And here's my message for him. Just because you stop reporting crime numbers, that doesn't actually mean they stop happening.
Yeah, I'd like him to listen to that. Now, Caitlin, we are seeing a meltdown from the left about a ballroom that's going in the White House thanks to President Trump. And Tim Walz's daughter, Hope Walz, has gone on this rant insisting that a ballroom is gross.
The whole destruction of the East Wing of the White House to build this tacky ballroom really represents just the larger political climate and state of our country right now.
I mean, there is so much wrong with what she just said, but we've seen many on the left lose it over this ballroom. I mean, Hillary Clinton, of all people, have an issue with what Donald Trump is doing in the White House. Women on The View are freaking out about it. MSNBC hosts have been on the verge of tears over it. But it's interesting, there has been some common sense around, not a lot, but a little bit. The Washington Post editorial board has praised Trump's move. It has the headline, "In defense of the White House ballroom," and it says, "The White House cannot simply be a museum to the past. Like America, it must evolve with the times to maintain its greatness." Caitlin, what do you make of the Washington Post editorial board getting on board with this, yet lefties like Tim Walz's daughter seem to think it's gross?
I don't know. Personally, I want to ask her, was it not gross when your father tried to put tampons in men's bathrooms? To me, that was a little bit more gross, Gabriella. I don't know. My question for these people is, why is it a problem to tear down the East Wing? And it wasn't a problem when the left tried to tear down all of our monuments that actually represented the history of this country. No one was crying. No one was melting down back then. And the troubling thing about this story to me is, if you were only watching liberal media this week or the mainstream media, you would actually think that Donald Trump was the first president to actually touch the White House, which we know is not true. FDR was the one that actually added the entire East Wing and included an indoor pool for himself. Truman gutted the entire White House. Nixon, I believe, added a bowling alley. And of course, everyone's favorite president, Barack Obama, added a basketball court. So excuse President Trump for wanting to add something a little classy to the White House, which is the ballroom. The East Wing of the White House is not one of the original parts of the White House. It was an addition to the White House. And it really goes to show you, if the Washington Post is actually praising something like this, I think we're doing something right. If this is the biggest problem you have as a citizen right now, this is what you're having a meltdown over, I think it just goes to show how well of a job Donald Trump is doing as president.
Yeah, and just so much TDS, it still exists. And Barack Obama's basketball court, I mean, he spent hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayer money. Meanwhile, the president is funding this along with some very generous donors. Caitlin, it's been almost 7 weeks since Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and the man accused of killing Charlie, Tyler Robinson, returned to court for a virtual appearance. He spoke briefly off camera. Today, his widow, Erica Kirk, who has just shown so much strength and so much grace over the past 2 months, has shared a video of their daughter as they drove past Turning Point USA.
Charlie, stop. I see Daddy. Charlie, not.
No, it just breaks my heart watching that. But we will not stop speaking about Charlie Kirk and listening to Charlie Kirk's voice. He was, of course, such an important voice for America, for the West, where he would engage in debates and talk about the importance of borders, Western values, marriage and family, and was, of course, such a great example to young people, young men. And on this lighter note, I want to play a moment where Charlie Kirk absolutely schools this liberal guy who thinks it's a good chance to save money when he's going on a date. Watch this.
Should a man pay on the first date?
100%. Like, what kind of a wuss beta male is splitting the check? Like, who are you? It's like, I'm just sorry. It's
Wait,
so. I would go into debt and like scrub dishes before a woman paid for it.
I split the check quite a lot.
So
quite a lot.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend you. You guys are great. That's incomprehensible to me. I think that's
to me. I thought it was a great financial decision. I've just
okay. So from your prism, I totally get that, and like you have really good financial discipline. I'm sorry, like I would be so humiliated if
I'm more with you.
No, I mean, it's like I find that to be like
care.
the greatest beta male like humiliation.
To save money?
To like the idea that a woman that you're trying to court. Now, if it's like a friend thing or
as a first date, you don't even know if she's like the qualities.
It does not matter. I'm sorry. By the way, that money you save is not worth the honor that you compromise.
It is such a big deal.
It's a massive deal.
Caitlin, I absolutely love it. Can you imagine how triggered all the lefties are listening to this?
Oh, no. Well, I live in New York, Gabriella, so that's as beta as it gets. Make men alpha again. I think that's something we're all craving in this country right now. But I was fortunate to travel with Charlie to college campuses last year during such a pivotal and consequential election season. And I can tell you that the young men of this country, I know the mainstream media paints them out to be disengaged, lazy, unintelligent, and out of touch, but they're not. They are galvanized. They are not apathetic anymore. They want to make a difference. They want to return to old school values, the values that this country was founded on, the values that our grandfathers had, going to war, building things with their hands, and taking care of their families. Old school, traditional, masculine roles, and the same goes for femininity. That's what the young men in this country that I had the privilege of talking to and meeting, traveling with Charlie, I think that's what they want. So make men alpha again. That's the message.
I love it. Caitlin Sinclair, media strategist for Maha Pac. Thank you so much for your time.
God bless. Thank you.